Chichen Itza is known as one of the new 7 ancient wonders of the world, built by the Mayan civilization within the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. In the second day of my trip to Mexico, I went on a day trip to this historical site and also explored the nearby Mayan ruins.
So, welcome to day, I don't even know what it is at this point, in Mexico. This is our first full day that we're spending in Tulum, and we've actually decided to take a little trip to Chichen Itza while we're here. So Chichen Itza, it's one of the wonders of the world. It's essentially like a city that was built by the Mayan people back in the day. And it's supposed to be very beautiful and very historic. We're here and we're waiting to meet our tour guide. So we basically booked a tour. You don't have to book a tour. You can just show up and have a look around yourself, but Nim and I wanted to kind of explore the history a bit more, so it was nice to just have like an actual guide instead. We actually hired a rental car for the next few days of our trip. So we actually drove here from Toulouse, so it was about 2 hours. So if you want to actually park in the official car park, it costs a bit more, but there are loads of parking spots nearby that are a lot cheaper. So I think we end up paying 80 pesos to park the car, but that covers us for the whole day.
Chichen Itza's most important temple. The name of the temple is the pyramid or the castle. Was built by Mayans as a place to worship a god. The name of this god, Kukulkan, the feathered snake god, and became one of the most important gods for Mayans because feathers relate this god with heaven. Then the snake with overworld, and because it's a rattlesnake and they live underneath, it's also related to underworld. So the temple right here, it's the most important place in the Yucatan Peninsula for the cult of that god. But it was built also to represent Mayan calendar. Have you ever seen a Mayan calendar before? It's a 365 days calendar, which is divided in 19 months. All of the symbols that you can see right here are months. 18 of these symbols are months of 20 days, and then one of them, Wayep, as a cycle with 5 additional days. So my friends, the place exists since the year 300 AD until the year 1250 AD. Why Mayans left this place? Because overpopulation. Basically, there was a lot of people living, not just here, in the entire Yucatan Peninsula. These flowers mixed with derivatives of oil, not the flower, just the flower right there.
The name of the flower is candor. Candor is for the yellow color. You can see in the wood. For yellow. This one is a leaf of the same flower. This one.
So here we have a hoop from the ball court, which Nim is going to explain a little bit more about.
So there's like loads of ball courts apparently in Chichen Itza, and they would play a game of football, but Mayan version. So they can play with the ball, kick it with their knees, hips, elbows, and try to get it through that hoop. And apparently everything seems to be super religious here. So it's like one team is the sun god, or the representatives of the sun god, and the other team is like forces of the night. And the sun basically every day had to kind of, they believe every day has to deal with the forces of the night at sunset. So this ball game would kind of represent that. Hello, we're at the Castillo, which is the castle. This is like the main bit that everyone comes to for Chichen Itza. It's quite cool. They essentially use the fact that there's 365 days in a year to represent this temple. So I think each temple steps on each side, it's 91 steps. So when you add it all together, it's 364, but then the one up top is the 5. So it represents 365 days. They make offerings to God, especially if there's like a drought or something. So they make an offering to the rain god, and that can be human, food, animal, whatever they kind of deem necessary. And then that temple over there, kind of hard to see, but that's where they prepare the sacrifices. I don't know if you can see that little that black stone over there in between the pillars on the bottom level. That's where they would essentially bend people over and draw their heart out, because the heart is where the soul is. So that's the most important sacrifice you can make.
So what are you doing there then?
Huh?
What were you doing there?
If you clap, it echoes with the way the steps and the top like pillars are set up. So when you clap really loud, which is what everyone's doing, we look like absolute lunatics, but it will echo and make like the bird noise that essentially they're worshipping with this temple. It's like, I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can hear that. Otherwise
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear that, but we can hear it here. And it looks like we have located an iguana out here. So this right here is a observatory, and as I understand it, this was the observatory that was used to observe the kind of movements of the planets and the sun around, to kind of discover the calendar as we know it today, or the Mayan calendar anyway.
Hello, we're just leaving Chichen Itza to go to Coba, which is like a different archaeological ruin site. But we've heard from many people on our trip that it's not as busy as Chichen Itza, it's a lot nicer, and I think a couple months ago or a couple years ago you could walk on it, so we're kind of hoping we can do the same maybe.
We have cut the time a little bit fine, so I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but there's a bit of a time difference between Tulum and between Tulum and Chichen Itza. There's like a 1 hour time difference, and Coba is in the Tulum time zone thing. So we thought we'd have an extra hour here, but it turns out we've actually got 1 hour less than we'd planned.
Yeah, we crossed the Yucatan time zone line,
so we got here at like 4, and they close at 5. But I don't know if you can see, there's like a lot of walking to do once you're through like the entrance. So
get your steps in.
Yeah, you get your steps in, I guess. I think I saw a sign earlier that did say it's a bit of a it's over 1 kilometre walking to get there. There are like taxis or like cycle taxis that you can take if you're willing to pay for it. But we've opted not to do that, so we're walking it. Wow, we have finally made it. Looks like this is the temple. Is this a temple?
Yeah, this is the main temple in Coba.
Yeah.
And you could once walk up this, but then they've closed it since COVID.
Yeah, so you can see they put barriers around it, so you can't really go up it anymore. But it does look lovely. It is massive. I don't think the camera really shows just how big it is. But standing here right next to it, it is very high up. So even if we could climb up that, I'm not sure I would want to. So now we're heading back towards the main entrance of the site, because there was another set of ruins or like structures that was on the other side called Rupa Coba. I don't know if we'll have time to go and see it, but we're gonna try. So it looks like we found ourselves another ball court. So this was similar to the ones that we saw in Chichen Itza, and Nim explained essentially what happens here. So in the end we did get to see part of the Grupa Coba bit of the ruins here and the site structures here. We didn't get to see all of it, but we did get to see some of it. Nim got her little photo that she wanted to get with it. She finally got to climb something. You're allowed to climb parts of the Coba one, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was definitely very different to the Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza was very much touristy. You could tell that it was very commercialized for that purpose, whereas this felt more authentic. This felt more sort of close-knit and very Mayan. Like, it felt very preserved in its original way, which was quite nice.
And then it was time to head back to our hotel in Tulum, where I'd be spending the next 3 days of my trip here in Mexico. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Chichen Itza, and hopefully I've inspired you to visit this incredible historical structure. As always, please make sure you guys like, comment and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time to showcase my adventures in Tulum.